The Constitution does prohibit it. Some of your allies are pretty serious about this, though, Mr. President. I've spoken to them. They say they are coming up with potential ways.
Well,
obviously, the biggest one would be a constitutional amendment. You have built a political movement that has transformed the Republican Party. It's transformed the country, quite frankly.
Political movement in history, MAGA. Ideally, a great Republican to carry it forward. But I think we're going to have 4 years, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to do something really spectacular. Capacity of being a big supporter of many people have said different things, but I'm not looking at that.
What happens when you put the guy who hated your guts in charge of your most disastrous policy? Trump just handed JD Vance the smoking ruins of his trade war and said, fix it on national TV. With a single Chinese shipyard now pumping out more ships than all American shipyards combined, Vance is basically being handed a job application to become captain of the Titanic after it hit the iceberg. Still think selling out to Trump was worth it, JD? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Do you recall the time when JD Vance was a regular person with opinions, before he became enamoured with politics and concluded that principles were merely recommendations, you know? For a moment, let's enter our time machine. Vance wasn't afraid to express his feelings about Trump in the past. Given that wrecking balls at least have a purpose, his description of him as a human wrecking ball of civilization was somewhat harsh.
That's because they like the job I'm doing, and it's a compliment.
Has anyone in an official capacity presented you with, sir, here are some ideas?
There are many people selling the 2028 hat, but this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody.
You have built a political movement that has transformed the Republican Party. It's transformed the country, quite frankly.
Political movement in history, MAGA.
He continued after that. Vance referred to Trump as cultural heroin, implying that the orange man was essentially a harmful substance that made people feel good, but actually caused them pain. It comes directly from Vance's mouth before his spine disappeared, therefore it's not me saying it. Vance presented himself as a perceptive conservative who was aware of the issues facing Americans in the working class, but refused to accept Trump's easy fixes. He was the voice of reason from the heartland, the hillbilly elegy person. It's likely that Republican dinner parties enjoyed his presence as a reminder that they weren't all insane. Then, however, a miraculous event occurred. Trump wasn't that horrible after all, and Vance had political aspirations. Trump couldn't shout, "You're fired," or person, woman, man, camera, TV, as quickly as the change occurred. He goes from accusing Trump of being dangerous to appearing like a captive on Fox News and reciting a prepared statement touting how wonderful Trump is. Have you watched those videos? Vance's deer-in-headlights defense of Trump on Fox News. His mouth says Trump is a genius and his eyes plead, "Help me." It's similar to witnessing someone attempt to pass off the rotten sandwich in their refrigerator as fine dining. No, really, the green stuff adds flavour. They ought to have awarded Vance an Olympic gold for political gymnastics because of how dramatic the flip-flop was. He became Trump's staunchest supporter after referring to him as cultural heroin. It was what political analysts refer to as a full-body soul transplant, a polite way of stating that he sold whatever values he still had more quickly than Taylor Swift concert tickets. However, Trump's public assignment of Vance to serve as the face of his tariff policy on live television was the true icing on the cake.
The Constitution does prohibit it. Some of your allies are pretty serious about this, though, Mr. President. I've spoken to them. They say they are coming up with potential ways.
Well,
obviously, the biggest one would be a constitutional amendment. What gives you?
I think it's so strong, and I think we have tremendous people. I think we have a tremendous group of people. We talked about a number of them. Make America great again.
When you look to the future, Mr. President, do you think the MAGA movement can survive without you as its leader?
Yes, I do.
Imagine this. Probably tired of having Vance get his Diet Cokes, Trump abruptly gestures to him and declares, "You're going to handle the tariffs." Not as a prize, of course. This was a punishment rather than a promotion. In reality, Trump is using this promotion to hold Vance hostage. It's similar to being appointed captain after the Titanic has already struck the iceberg. With the pin already out, Trump essentially handed Vance an economic hand grenade and said, "Here, explain to people why their groceries cost more now." Poor JD is now forced to defend policies that economists are describing as disastrous. He is making a valiant effort to persuade voters that being inconvenienced by tariffs is a brave display of patriotism. Your eggs are more expensive, yes, but they're American eggs. People, freedom isn't free. Vance continues to smile as if nothing is wrong, while prices continue to rise. It's almost impossible. Vance, a longtime Trump critic, is now the spokesperson for this economic suffering as a result of Trump's tariff initiatives, which are predicted to hike costs on almost everything, from food to autos. He must explain how America is becoming great again by paying more at Walmart. The critic is now shining Trump's shoes with what little dignity he still has, which is the epitome of political karma. This is made even more heated by the fact that Vance is most likely aware of how bad these practices are.
Ideally, a great Republican to carry it forward. But I think we're going to have 4 years, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to do something really spectacular. Capacity of being a big supporter of many people have said different things, but I'm not looking at that. You look at Marco, you look at JD Vance, who's fantastic. You look at, I could name 10, 15, 20 people right now just sitting here. No, I think we have a tremendous party. And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean,
he was an economics student. He published an entire book about Americans who are struggling. He is currently supporting measures that will harm the very individuals he said he understood. It's like a vegetarian suddenly taking on the role of ambassador for a steakhouse. You've sampled our new triple bypass burger? I know I said meat was horrible, it's just amazing. Maybe literally. Trump made Vance the fall person, in addition to making him vice president. Guess who has to explain why people are upset about having to pay more for necessities? Not Trump. At 3 in the morning, he will either be playing golf or uploading strange content. Vance will be perspiring during press conferences while attempting to make math fail. Political karma at its worst. The critic who once forewarned us about Trump is now compelled to advocate for ideas that he would have denounced only a few years ago. He used to write about America's issues, but now he is one of them. However, what are the specific tariffs that Vance is currently having to defend? Let's take a look at this economic dumpster fire that has Vance searching for talking points that won't make him laugh out loud while experts are reaching for the Tums. JD Vance's journey from Trump critic to fall guy is complete. He is now forced to defend tariffs that harm the exact people he claimed to comprehend. Americans are feeling the pinch as a result of the economic impact, which has seen a sharp increase in the price of groceries and steel. Don't be shocked if you end up as the face of catastrophe after selling your soul for political power. Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, even cautioned that these tariffs might cause slower growth and higher inflation. As Vance attempts to explain why it is truly patriotic to pay extra for eggs, keep in mind his previous remarks regarding Trump as a wrecking ball of civilization. As it seems, he was correct all along.